Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate broker associate Kendra Wray of Keller Williams Heritage Realty based out of McQueeney, Texas. Kendra has been an experienced agent since 2001, listing and buying residential and waterfront homes. She is a member of the Luxury League, Platinum Top 50 Realtors, and multiple high sales volume awards through Keller Williams. She is involved in many charities and gives back to the community. She is a fully dedicated agent and always strives to reach her clients' expectations during and after their real estate transaction. Kendra and her family live in Lake McQueeney and has lived in New Braunfels for 14 years prior. In her spare time, she enjoys hunting, boating, fishing, playing poker, and most of all, enjoys being a mom of two boys with a great, supportive husband. All right, with all that said, Kendra, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
And Kendra, if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
Yeah, I pretty much stumbled into it. I was actually looking to purchase a home. Myself was just getting married, and so I was working with an agent that was referred to me from was actually my boss at the time. And so during that process, he actually mentioned to my realtor, he said, hey, I think Kendra would be really good at real estate. And he told me that, and actually I said, wow, I was just working at a golf course as a restaurant manager at the time, and I said, yeah, trying to figure out what I was doing. I was going to school still, trying to finish up my business degree, and just kind of just said, well, you know what, I could always give real estate a try, and if it doesn't work out, then I can go back and, figure something else out. And basically, she kind of took me under her wing, and, I'm here 15 years later.
Excellent. And can you talk a little bit about what personal attributes, traits, or qualities you think have most contributed to the success that you've had in real estate?
Well, I've always been very self-driven. I've had a job basically since I've been 12, starting at paper routes to waitressing, bartending, and pretty much just always had jobs that were commission-based. So the harder I worked, the more I made. So I think that's been the biggest one. Another one is I play poker for the most part. I go out to the World Series of Poker, and I've done pretty well and made some good stuff there. And I think that has actually helped me well as far as negotiating contracts and stuff.
And do you think you give our listeners an example of when these traits have played a role in your path towards success?
So, I've always kind of been more like, tomboy and stuff, and so kind of always had more of a male point of view as far as things go, and so I think that's really helped as far as negotiating, and like I said, being a poker player, when you're negotiating deals and getting the best price for your clients, I think that's helped when, they don't really know if I'm telling the truth or not, if I'm bluffing, if that's what the seller will take or the buyer, and I think that's helped quite a bit.
And Kendra, whenever somebody has success, whether in their career or their business, sometimes getting there isn't always easy. Sometimes there's bumps in the road. Can you talk about maybe some of the adversities and trials that you had to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
Yeah, actually, when I first started, I started right after September 11th. So that was a very hard time to start because the economy, kind of took a downturn in this area and was, for about a year and a half, it was pretty slow. So it was really hard time to get into real estate. And, I kind of just gave myself some goals, like if I can't make this goal or this goal, then it's kind of time to move on. But I basically was just kind of helped out anybody I could, trying to get referrals and follow them around, trying to learn the business, help them out, just to make some extra money on their sides, and was able to push through that part. And then also, about 8 years later when the market crashed, that was another slow year. And, but the market did come back, was able to sit it out and, kind of just basically knowing the market and having enough reserves to, when the market does make a downturn, that you can make it through it, basically.
And as these obstacles came up for you, what kept you going? Why didn't you give up? What was your driving force?
Because I knew they would pass, and there was, I just, rather than, I kind of would change up my niches at the time. Like if I was working just with, sellers or buyers or a particular area, and I was doing really good at that, and when it could slow down, I kind of picked up different areas. I also got into property management as well, just to bring in some extra income. So I do and vacation rentals. So I kind of added some stuff to my business to, just to basically help out.
And Kendra, looking forward, what's your vision for your business and your career over the next 5 years?
One of my main goals is to, just keep my business steady where it is. I don't really necessarily want to increase it too much because that means I'm going to have to hire more people than I already have. But just keep it steady and to get enough reserves so that I'm able to buy more properties. My goal is to have 15 rental properties that I own free and clear in the next 10 years. And so that way, if I decide in about 10 years I kind of want to not work so hard at the real estate, I can just have a team under me that kind of takes that over. I'm just kind of overseeing it and, be able to do some more traveling and that kind of thing.
And I guess kind of on top of that, what do you feel is the best way that you market yourself as a real estate professional so that you can have continual growth?
I do a lot of billboards and TV ads and also online exposure. So just, keeping myself out there and also just, my sphere of influence and past clients, really work in the referrals. That's where I get majority of my business.
And Kendra, I think sometimes when the general public looks at real estate agents, they don't fully understand the value that they provide from both a buyer and a seller standpoint. What do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with a real estate agent?
Well, basically that, we don't do much. We just put their house on the market, put an MLS, put a sign up, and it gets sold, and we just make this big commission check where there's a lot more, to it than that. And I think once they start getting into the process, they kind of figure it out. But at first, when they're, pretty naive, that's kind of what they're thinking is, why can't I just sell it myself and not pay, that 6% commission, when they don't realize at the end of the day they're probably going to give up way more than that 6% trying to sell it themselves because they're probably most likely going to undervalue it and also give a lot away more than they would have without having representation, and also just opening themselves up to, lawsuits and liability as well.
And Kendra, let's say you get a call from a family member or a friend, and they're in another state, and they want to sell their home. Now, obviously, with your experience and being part of Keller Williams, you could probably easily look up an agent and do a referral. But from a general advice standpoint, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs?
Yeah, like you said, for the most part, I will, go with our Keller Williams family, try to find someone in that area where I will call and actually interview them myself, not just getting a phone number, to kind of find out if they, would work well with that person and if they actually work that area, how long they've been in the business, and, kind of help them out from there. And then I would pass them on to them and just basically say, make sure that, you guys are a good match, if, that you could work well together and they understand your needs and also, always ask all the right questions. I send them a list of questions, kind of to ask, because I've actually put together a book for sellers and buyers that kind of goes through the general process of buying and selling. And so they have that to kind of ask for their interviews as well.
Excellent. And obviously you're based out of the McQueeney, Texas area, and if somebody's looking for real estate services or an agent in that general area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
Well, yeah, I don't just mainly work the McQueeney area. That's a really small suburb of New Braunfels, San Antonio area. So I basically work the greater San Antonio area, New Braunfels, Seguin, McQueeney, Schertz, Cibolo, even into San Antonio. But the best way to reach me is in my cell phone number, and that is 830-534-1410. And then also my website is kendrawray.com, and the last name is W-R-A-Y, so kendrawray.com.
Excellent. Well, Kendra, obviously we want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come here today and share all your professional real estate experience with our listeners. And if you're listening and you want to learn more about Kendra, obviously you can go to her website, like she said, or you can call her. Also below this interview, we'll have a link to her site and any other contact information we have so you can see how Kendra can help you with your real estate needs. So with that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.